For me, my ultimate goal in marketing as a marketing director is to persuade my parents to order from Dáme jídlo.
Did you succeed with the order from Dáme jídlo?
Not yet.
It's really amazing to see everyone here, finally. Before any introduction, I just want to kick off this with a quick question to Breta. Like on LinkedIn, you mentioned that emotions, creativity, and data sums up your professional life. I have a very important question for you. What would you say the most emotional moment in that professional life?
It's a tough one. Unfortunately, I wanted to say that it is linked or related to COVID. I think that morning I will never forget. It was in March in 2020. It was Saturday morning. I love running, so on Saturday morning 6:30 I went running. Normally I do run like 10-15k, but that day I ran like literally 300 meters. Then my smartphone went crazy because the government announced, all the restrictions, the first lockdown, and so on. And suddenly, basically, we needed to change everything in terms of our marketing plans, marketing budgets, and it was very hectic weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and I think it did not stop up until now. But so that was first one. And the second one was definitely the introduction of our fashion brand. It's still small, it's more like a hobby, but it's always nice to see that something you was working on really, really hard went into life. We had our first fashion show in 2015, like more than 300 people came, so it was really great, and it was an amazing moment.
Right, thanks a lot. We're gonna have a lot of talks about emotions today. First off, let me start with a quick question. How many people here identify themselves as not marketers? Okay, so what the hell are you doing here? Okay, we have a photographer here. Thank you, Ramsey. Well, thank you for coming in a way. I hope you're gonna get at least one of two things today. One, you can learn something new that can help you in your business, no matter what you're doing. Second is actually getting to meet with other peers in the business. So today we're gonna have a very hopefully intense and insightful discussion. We are here in HubHub, so thank you for HubHub for hosting us in their event space. Actually, our company DataDo, we are located upstairs. We work here in HubHub. It's an amazing place to be. Second, I hope everyone got some drinks ready for this. If not, we have more drinks outside. And as you might imagine, it was delivered by Dáme jídlo. Not only delivered, but actually it was courtesy of Dáme jídlo. So thank you for bringing the drinks. And after the event, once we finish, hopefully you're gonna have some snacks outside. They should be delivered within half an hour if the delivery works fine. So stay here, and so you can communicate with everyone else. First thing, let's start with Dáme jídlo. So would you tell us a little bit? I think I'm sure everyone here knows Dáme jídlo, but I'm sure there are many things that actually they don't know about Dáme jídlo.
Dáme jídlo was founded in 2012 by Tomáš Čupr. I believe most of you guys know Tomáš. But what you maybe don't know, that actually he sold the business just after 2 years to Delivery Hero. Delivery Hero is one of the largest food delivery, and at the moment I should say quick commerce companies in the world. We operate almost in 50 countries. Dáme jídlo covers 170 cities in the Czech Republic, and we cover more than 60% of the population, which when it comes to marketing is really useful because we can do large-scale nationwide campaigns, including TV, and we will talk about it later. We in the customer database we have more than 2.5 million people. When there is lunch peak, we deliver more than I think at the moment 12,000 meals per hour. So it's a big operations. We do have more than 6,000 restaurants and shops on the platform, and at the moment more than 500 people internally and more than 4,000 riders. So I'd say we are already a pretty big company.
Cool. And I think recently you moved from only like food delivery to also like what we are calling like the quick commerce, right?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I mentioned that we were founded by Thomas Schupper. He sold the company after 2 years, and then he founded Rohlik. I think I don't need to introduce Rohlik. And at the moment, we are becoming kind of competitors because we started our own grocery delivery. We do deliver also from Tesco, from Shopka, and from many other vendors. Super Zoo for your pets, Bambule for your kids. And also, for example, we deliver from Erotic City if you're bored in the evening.
Yeah, I want to know more about this.
No, but we also have something called dark stores. We have our small shops from where we deliver extra fast your groceries. At the moment, the grocery delivery, our average time for D-Mart, for Dáme Market, is around 20 minutes. But actually, this is really the new trend. Maybe at the moment you don't feel it in Prague or in the Czech Republic. Well, if you went to, for example, to Berlin or to London, the average delivery time the companies are proposing is 10 minutes, or Foodpanda in Berlin even under 10 minutes. So imagine yourself like sitting in the evening watching TV, you're craving for beer, you're craving for chips or popcorn. You open up the app, I don't know, Foodpanda or Gorillas, Get Here, Joker, anything like that, and basically everything will get delivered to you in 10 minutes. It's something which is amazing. It's very easy to get used to it, believe me, and the trend is coming, not only from Dáme jídlo, but actually I need to mention that also our competitors are opening it up. Wolt is having many vendors already, Wolt Food and so on, so we'll see who will grab the highest market share. And on the other hand, Rohlik is also trying to deliver much faster. At the moment, I think they introduced even 60 minutes delivery. So for you as a consumer, it will be, I think 222 will be quite interesting because you as a consumer, you will definitely benefit from it. I think everyone will have some special vouchers, promotions, discounts, and so on, which is always tough for me as a marketing director and being responsible for the marketing budget. But it will be tough one.
That actually will be my next question. As you said, you are the marketing director, but at the same time you are the head of BI. So I want to understand like what are the main difference between the responsibilities of you as a marketing director and a head of BI.
I'm always saying a joke that it's a nice position to be in because I can create the marketing campaigns, or I'm responsible for the marketing campaigns, and then my BI team evaluates them. No, of course I'm not cheating, but it's great to have the knowledge of the data, of how data can be used to drive the business. And then to apply them in marketing, and at the moment I think we are speaking about data-driven marketing. Most of the marketing is being driven by data. It might sound as a cliche, but it's the truth. I'm at the same time actually teaching at a university, when I ask my students if they want to go to marketing, of course they say yes. They imagine that they will create the ads, the nice pictures, the nice TV spots and so on. But marketing is about numbers. They will spend more time in Excel in Microsoft Excel than creating the nice photos or the nice movies, and it's about the numbers. But I don't want to say it's still or it should be all about data. I think the emotions, creativity, and data needs to be linked together. And because and we will speak about it later. We are creatures of habits, of emotions, and so on. And good advertising is about stories. It's about storytelling. So it needs to be linked.
I think this is one thing that we are always misjudge, that we underestimate the effects of emotions in our purchase decisions. And people think even for B2B decision, if you are buying a software, that you think, okay, like, gonna be a very rational decision, we're gonna evaluate every software out there, but we really, really underestimate how emotions are involved in that decision. And like, this is where the study of the behavioral economics come in place. And you told me how much Dáme jídlo is working on that. And I think one of the first emotions that you deal with is hunger. Which is a very nice thing for you to have, because you're gonna have that emotion multiple times a day.
It is true. Like every one of us is, I think, hungry at least maybe 2-3 times a day, maybe someone more. But on the other hand, when you are hungry, you're becoming highly emotional, highly irrational. Then actually it's good for me as a marketer, because you can be nudged. The behavioral economics uses the term nudge. You can be nudged to make some decision. And basically, yeah, there's a slide above me. There's a great book, Thinking Fast and Slow, by Daniel Kahneman, and he's saying that every one of us is having two systems. The one which is purely rational, that's the Spock. When you're using the system, it's basically, for example, when you are in a new city and trying to find your way through a new city, or speaking foreign language and so on, because you need to make effort. And that rational system, that Spock inside of us, is mostly, like as mentioned, rational and doesn't do mistakes. But then 90% of our decisions is made in emotions. There's that Homer Simpson craving for donut. And basically that system number two, as Daniel Kahneman is describing it, is allowing us to function, because we have many automated mechanisms in us, and we might not be aware of them, but there they are, and it influences how we are behaving. If you studied economics at the university, I believe most of you did, you were having microeconomics. Microeconomics is kind of a great subject, but there is one big but. There's an assumption that the person is rational, but of course, as I mentioned, we are mainly irrational. So that's why there is behavioral economics, which is trying to describe all those mechanisms. And going back to hunger, really, if you are hungry, you're emotional, you're irrational. And as mentioned, we are trying to deliver you the food and the groceries within 20-30 minutes. Let's say if your cell phone from Alza gets delivered 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, you don't care. Or if your grocery shopping from Rohlik arrives 15 minutes late, it's still okay. But if you're really, really hungry, we promise that we will deliver you the Big Mac or something from, Dish, your favorite burger, or something from Manifesto within those 20 minutes. And we even get, delayed by 5 minutes, 8 minutes. It will get very emotional. I do work in the company. I know all the processes and everything. And I'm very, very grumpy when my order is being delayed, and I'm part of it. So then it's much more difficult how to manage the customer experience, how to manage the customer compensations. Frankly, I would not like to sit at our customer care. It's a very, very tough job to deal with hungry, annoyed, and irrational customers. But I do understand them, because I'm the same.
Yeah. Like, I think you mentioned to me an example before. How can you solve complicated situations, not with rational decision, but more into emotion? And you tell me that railways, I think in Breta.
There is one great story, and it's not from my head. It's actually, I used to, before Dáme jídlo and Social Bakers, I used to work for 5 years in Ogilvy. And although in London, they really focus on behavioral economics and how to implement the knowledge of behavioral economics into marketing. And there's this great speaker, Rory Sutherland. By the way, he was speaking also in the marketing festival, I think a couple of weeks ago here in the Czech Republic. And I do highly recommend Rory and his speeches on TED. He's saying one great story. A couple of years ago, the owners or the company called Eurostar, which operates the train between Paris and London, they got investment of a couple billions euro, and they were being asked to make the train journey better. And very often we have this engineering solution, the rational solutions. So they came up with engineering solution. They improved the railway track. They put stronger engines into the trains, and they cut like 40 minutes out of the journey between Paris and London. But then Rory is saying, like, what is the missed opportunity? You know, would this make the journey better? Just simply make it faster. You know, he's saying, okay, if I hired the best and the most and the nicest in the world supermodels, both male and female, and they would go through the train, you know, handing the most expensive food and champagne and so on. You know, people would be much happier on the train, enjoying the train ride much more, and they would maybe even ask to make the train journey longer instead of shorter. You know, and this is the thinking we're having. Like, we are still stuck kind of in those engineering solutions, though. You know, very often we want to use products and services that are making us happier.
Like you mentioned the idea of these nudges, and like if we're gonna implement that in the marketing world, and again example of Dáme jídlo, like if it's raining outside right now, like I'm assuming there are higher possibility that you're gonna order food. Do you have actually a way to implement that into your marketing?
Yes, we do. It's also sometimes a little bit difficult to be in marketing or to be responsible for marketing in Dáme jídlo, because when the weather is bad, you mentioned when it's raining, when it's cold, when it's actually dark outside and so on, people tend to order more. You know, and when there is a day with really, really bad weather, actually our orders, you know, increases a lot. And much more than through some marketing campaign. You know, the rain, the cold weather makes more for us than some great, you know, emailing with discount, with vouchers, and so on. So maybe the best investment to marketing would be, you know, how to influence the weather.
Did you find a way to do that yet?
I'm always asking my boss to send me to South America and to some shaman or whatever to learn how to attract rain. But yes, we do implement it into our CRM communication, that when we know that the weather will be bad, we proactively communicate, hey, you know, enjoy your evening at home. I think actually Bolt, our competitors, they made a real nice campaign. And maybe you have noticed it in Czech subway, in metro. They are using the live data about weather, and they are changing actually the visuals in metro. You know, it's raining outside, or you know, it's related. And like with my BI department, we made a lot of analysis, you know, how the weather influences which type of food people are ordering. So we are also adjusting our communication based on that.
No, like, wait a minute. So are you saying that the kind of food that people order is different depending on the weather?
Sure, it is.
Okay, interesting.
But
can you tell us more about? I'm very curious about that. Like, what do people order when it's sunny versus when it's cold?
No, again, I think I would not be saying something surprising. Like, when it's cold, when it's dark, you want to have something juicy, something with fat. So it's yes, it's burgers, it's pizza. Yes, it's also Pizza Hawaii.
Who's ordering that?
No, you might love, but our most selling item is pizza, and when it comes to pizza, number one is pizza salami with ham or with some salami and so on, and number two or second is Pizza Hawaii. you might not like it.
I'm very offended right now. Yes.
I do remember that, that there was a time when we set out communication, emailing with Pizza Hawaii, and there was one angry Italian customer actually writing to us, do not ever communicate me or do not ever send me any communication related to Pizza Hawaii or other, completely delete all my apps and I will stop ordering from Dáme jídlo.
It was not me, but like it could have been. Yeah. You mentioned like how you are pushing more into emotions with delivery, like how delivery people like behaving with the customer and so on. Like how did you manage that? How do you customize the delivery experience for the user?
For us, the riders are very, very important because they are, at the end of the day, they are the only ones who are getting into direct touch with our customers. So I know it's not always perfect. I think it will never be. As I mentioned, we have more than 4,000 riders. But there's the whole department focusing on rider quality, how they're behaving and so on. So that's for us the most important thing, that when your food gets delivered, they should ask you, hey, do you want to deliver it to your floor? They should always thank you for the order. They should wish you enjoy your meal, thanks for the tip, and all this stuff. I think there is still space for improvement, but we are working on that. Then and we're always trying to make this. It's called random acts of kindness, or some small things how to surprise the customer. For example, during COVID, during the first lockdown, there was a huge issue or a problem for us that normally when the food gets delivered, the rider will hand it to you. But people were afraid of the COVID, so we were leaving the food or the deliveries behind the door. But if you imagine your food, you don't want your food to get to be laying on the floor, and we had customers complaining about it. So we created a small game in Czech Pexeso. The riders were putting the food on the game. So customers were happy that the food was not directly touching the ground.
Yeah.
And then if the customers were stuck at home with kids and so on, they could easily play a small game.
Something to apply not only for e-commerce, but still speak about behavioral economics. The idea of what's called extreme aversion, like we as customers were always trying to avoid going to the extreme. So it's very common in SaaS businesses. Whenever you go to I want to look at the pricing of the tool, and it's a very common practice right now. We always have 3 tiers. Like everyone is copying it. Maybe not a lot of people know why, but it's good that they're copying it because it works. How we usually do, like, okay, what is the most expensive thing? Okay, I'm gonna take the second one because I'm just wanna avoid the extreme. So I think the more expensive option, the main reason behind just to get you to choose the second one, and there have been many studies to actually prove that.
Imagine when you're going to Starbucks or to Costa and buying a cup of coffee, like most of the people will actually select the middle one, the middle choice. They will not choose the small one, not the large one, they will choose the middle. Again, it's coded into us that what is in the middle, it's safe choice. But mostly, of course, it's the most profitable choice for the owners of that place and so on. But still, it works. All
right. So delivering on the emotions. So speaking about the channels, like you are definitely have a lot of mediums that you are using. Not only online medium, but you have TV ads, you have video ads, phone and SMS and so on. How did you manage all of that, and how do you deliver your messages through all these different channels?
I'm always saying that I would love to do marketing in 50s and 60s. I don't know how many of you know the TV show Mad Men. If you don't know it, I highly recommend it. It's about marketing and advertising in New York, really in 50s and 60s. And by that time, basically you as a marketer, you had like 5-6 different media. You had TV, radio, outdoor, print, and maybe some cassette, or it was called 8-track, and so on. And that was it. It was up to you to push the message to the consumer. You didn't have any social media, any instant feedback, customer feedback complaining 24 hours a day that you messed up something and so on. At the moment, I believe there are dozens or maybe even more than 100 different media you can work with. The target groups, if you're a big company and doing basically having large target groups like us, like Dáme jídlo, we kind of need to be everywhere. And we need to, basically work with almost every media imaginable. As mentioned, we are on TV, we are running nationwide campaigns, but at the same time, we are publishing our videos on TikTok. We are working with gamers on Twitch and so on. And all those formats are different. But then, it's very challenging how to come up with a creative idea and messaging and so on that would fit all the channels, because simply the formats are different, the timings are different, sometimes the messagings need to be adjusted and so on. And we were facing that challenge a year ago, and we came up with this. We came up with we implemented vertical videos into our messaging. Using split screens creatively, playing with them. We do have them even on TV, but then imagine the vertical videos. You can easily post them on TikTok. Create YouTube out of them, use them in Instagram Reels, and so on. And like the media, the channel is just a tool. Above it, there needs to be some unified messaging, unified idea. And we were talking a lot about hunger, but actually, if you look at our communication and if you check it, we are not communicating "you're hungry" or "Dáme jídlo." When we did, or when we are doing marketing research and we are doing it repeatedly, when we ask people why they order Dáme jídlo, mostly they are mentioning time. I don't have time to cook. I'm too busy. Or I simply want to enjoy my evening. Maybe I have the time, but I don't want to cook. I want to watch my favorite TV show, movie. I want to now watch. I think Sparta Play was playing today. Sparta Prague is playing today, because I have so many fans, and I want to watch it.
Are you a Sparta fan?
No, I'm Slavia.
Any Sparta fans here? Oh, it's not.
My
Okay.
boyfriend is, so
Only two. Okay, so Sparta is not very popular here. Okay.
No, and we are trying to persuade the people that they are actually not ordering food or grocery. They are getting time. And there are researchers, and there is this great speech by Ashley Willens, and she's a researcher or professor at Cambridge University, and she is saying that, and I think it would apply to all of us in this room, that we are all beggars, but not beggars financially, but beggars for time. And definitely it applies to me. And I really like services that are helping me to save the time. And there are many researchers that are saying, if you are using those kind of services, you're more happier. So that's why in our communication we are using that tagline, porce života navíc, extra portion of life. Because for us, you are getting that extra portion. And why the mother of the family should spend 4 hours cooking during the weekend, sometimes she might like it, it's okay. I also personally like cooking and baking, but sometimes I do prefer my time to spend with my family, friends, girlfriend, or to do things what I like, and it's okay. For example, for me, my ultimate goal in marketing as a marketing director is to persuade my parents to order from Dáme jídlo, because they are this kind of old generation that why should I pay for a service? Gets delivered something when I can do it by myself. They would never order. They would never order a cleaning lady to clean their flat, though it would make them happier. And we are trying to persuade people that you can have your life simple.
And did you succeed with the order from Dáme jídlo?
Not yet.
Vyberte, objednejte jídlo nebo nákup a my už jsme na cestě. Vy si tak můžete vychutnat čas na práci, na studium, na zábavu, na sebe nebo na rodinu. Dáme vám víc času na vše, na co máte chuť. Dáme jídlo. Porce života navíc.
How long did it take you to prepare and launch that campaign?
It was a very intensive week when it comes to shooting. So the production was basically 1 week of shooting and then some post-production work and so on. But it was like 3-4 months. But so 3-4 months preparing the spot, but then a couple months basically coming up also with the strategy, with the messaging, how we should move the messaging of Dáme jídlo. Because at the moment we are using that extra portion of life. Previously we were saying Dáme jídlo, tak na co máte chuť. Basically, it was like what you are craving for, if I'm supposed to translate it into English. There was still this inside of time, tak na co máte chuť, like what you are craving for, like what you want to do, basically. But with the word chuť, taste, you know, people automatically related it to food. And also when I'm or if we were supposed to use that old tagline, the slogan, tak na co máte chuť, what you are craving for, it doesn't fit to the new vertical, to the quick commerce, to I don't know, flowers delivery, electronics delivery. Maybe it would fit to the erotic city. But we need to come up with something else and something that would better explain the strategy of time, saving time.
I think this is interesting point what you mentioned, doing the market research to understand what is the main value, what is the main benefit that the user gets. And again, I always try to give the example from the B2B wallet, because it's still, whether it's B2B or B2C, you are still selling to humans at the end. And very much we keep focusing on the features that we are providing. But like if you just try to speak to the customer, understand, okay, they're gonna use your tool. What happens after that? What are they gonna achieve? Are they using it to help them to save time? Is it going to help them to grow the business and so on? Like the other interesting thing that you actually managed to get big brands to follow your ideas.
First, also why we decided to play with the vertical videos. It's still, I don't want to say that we are a startup company, but we don't have unlimited budgets, so we need to be also very cost effective. So for us, using those vertical videos, we can simply play with that, you know, change some of the videos, and voila, we have a new spot. I need to be that cost effective because, again, you know, what is different in the marketing world from those 50s and 60s in Mad Men? You need to constantly produce new content. You know, if you are running TV spots, probably, you know, you produce a couple of them during the year. But imagine social media, Facebook, Instagram, stories, TikTok, and so on. You constantly need to come up with new content. So you also need to have some simple, you know, simple creative framework that would allow you to come up with this content, and also it needs to be unified. Your audience need to recognize you, that this is your communication. Though maybe they will not focus on it, but they might just hear your music. You know, that's why even the music is very important, because if you're watching TV, if there is some you know, ad break, very often you will go on your cell phone, you will start talking to your friends and so on. But maybe you will still hear the music and you will relate it to Dáme jídlo. The symbols for the brand are very important. For us at the moment, the symbol is not only our brand, it's not only our slogan, it's also the music and it's the creative concept. It's still new, we still need to push it, but from the first results, we are seeing that it's working. And also, how to say, Dáme jídlo would not exist without our partners. We are also having, you know, on the platform, those big brands like McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, and so on. Again, it's fast food. Some people might not like it, but you know, the market is telling otherwise. You know, everyone loves McDonald's, everyone loves KFC. You know, it's a comfort food. Basically, people are loving it, and we managed to achieve one great thing, and I'm happy for that. That also the big brands like that are liking the creative concept. and they allowed us to play actually with their brands. Here we have just one example, I think, from KFC. It might, it may seem, something small, but imagine a huge corporation, huge brand like KFC. For them, the brand is the brand is the most valuable for KFC. It's not the shops and so on. The value is in the brand, and they allowed us to play with the brand.
Yeah.
Porce KFC navíc. Vychutnejte si kyblík a v něm 10 hot wings, 4 stripsy a 2 hranolky jen za 199. Jedině na Dáme jídlo.
Like speaking about the brand, like you have a very well-established brand here in Czech Republic. How do you actually, as a marketing director, how do you split your budget between like branding and between like what we call like performance or direct response campaigns?
I don't know from the top of my head if it's 50-50, but it would be kind of similar, because if I wanted to be marketing director just for 1 year, I would put everything into performance, just to generate the orders, generate the acquisitions. But if I want to build something long term, I need to build a brand. I need to build strong brand, the brand with some unified image that would stick into people's heads. There's the great statement by John Haggerty. He's the founder of PPH agency. And basically, he's saying that through advertising, you are buying, or through marketing, you're buying the most expensive real estate there is. You're buying the space in people's minds. And this is what's all marketing about. So you need to build a brand to create those bonds, those emotions. And if you think of strong brands, globally, Nike, Apple, and so on, they stand for something. There is this bond. And I don't know when I saw some, Nike performance marketing, on Facebook or on Google, but I still buy them because there's this emotional bond between me and the brand.
Yeah, and like speaking also like about partners. So like one important topic which many people were interested in is actually working with influencers. You have been doing that. You keep doing that. How do you manage this partnership? Like how do you actually choose the right influencers? I assume a lot of people just come to you, hey, we want to work with you just to make money. So how do you actually evaluate the right influencers to work with, and how do you evaluate the partnership after that?
When it also comes to brand, and when you're working with a brand, and when you're choosing how you will communicate to your target audience, there's a point in time when you need to choose how you will communicate. As I mentioned previously, good marketing and advertising is storytelling. Since we are a child, or since we are children, we are being told stories. And there are several communication archetypes. You can choose, you can be joker, or you can do some crazy stuff and so on. And my predecessors, marketing directors, before me, they chose, how to say it in like a wise man, or in Czech mudrc, which is a very difficult one, because everyone imagines Gandalf or someone like that, old man giving advices. So we are saying that we are young kind of wise man, or something like that. So we are trying to use influencers that stand at least like a little bit for more, that have interesting background. So, for example, when it comes to food, we cooperate with one influencer. She's called Dáme jídlo. Her name is Kristina Skalická. And her Instagram or profile is not only about eat this or not eat that. Basically, she's trying to push to people, you can eat whatever you want. It's about the balance. You should enjoy the food and so on. And that's kind of messaging we are trying to have. And with that extra portion of life, I think it's a great tagline, because then it gives us space, choose influencers that will inspire people. Basically, we are trying to through our influencers and also content. We are having our own blog, we are having podcasts. We are trying to inspire people how to enjoy that extra portion of life. So there's a connection between the tagline, how we are using the influencers, how we are working with the content.
Amazing. And actually, are you using any specific tools to measure the quality of each influencer or even the partnership with them?
Yes, we are using a couple of tools. I think one of the great tools we just started using is Modash. Basically before the start of every cooperation, of course we check the number of followers, but I'd say that it's not really important metric to look at, because at the end of the day it's more important how people engage with the content of the influencer. So we do measure engagement rate. We also measure the quality of the audience, if the audience or if the followers of the influencers are from the Czech Republic, because maybe it would be great to have Peter Cech, one of our most successful football players, as an influencer, but definitely the majority of his audience is from abroad because he used to play for Chelsea Football Club. And so on. So we do focus on Czech audience. We do focus on influencers that have high engagement rate, that influencers that can inspire people. And then, of course, we cooperate with many different influencers that can reach different target groups. So we have the lifestyle influencers. We have influencers that can kind of communicate to mothers who already have families, but also, of course, to young people. We have, I don't know if you know, for example, Ondřej Novotný. At the moment, he's also basically he's the host of our podcast. Ondřej Novotný is the man who founded Octagon. He's the leading man basically in the MMA scene. But at the same time, he's very knowledgeable, and he's having another podcast about Czech football scene and football club and so on. We are working with Esuba. Esuba is the oldest kind of gaming clan or gaming group in the Czech Republic, and the most successful one. So we are trying to reach also the gamers, the audience. So it's very interesting to meet with different people, different groups. Also this year we started cooperation with Jana Krause. At the same time, he's both influencer, but also it's on TV and so on. And there are more to come.
Like, so with all these people that you are cooperating with, what is usually the main metric that you are looking for? Like after to look at the success of such a partnership, what is the main metric that you are looking for?
For me, it's definitely kind of engagement rate and reach that our message can reach the audience. But sometimes we are using influencers just kind of as another channel for some tactics. For me, as a marketing director, one of the main KPIs is acquisitions, like number of new customers I can attract to the service, to Dáme jídlo. And so, for example, again, it's not something innovative. Through influencers, we are distributing our vouchers. So then I can measure, which influencer generated the majority of orders or the majority of acquisitions. Sometimes we are using influencers to increase the followers of Dáme jídlo, for example, on Instagram, on Facebook. That's also easily measurable. Or then, we can also see if there is some large influencer and we start a cooperation that our app downloads, the downloads of our app will increase. And I think it's almost 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, Volt used Leoš Mareš. And it was very interesting for me to see the results, how much app downloads it generated for them.
Wow. All right. So speaking about data, like you mentioned, that making the use of data to acquire free PR.
Yep.
How do you achieve that?
Data does not need to be used only for the purpose of the company, for the internal management and internal processes, but through data you can tell nice stories as well. Maybe it's a bit difficult or maybe more tough, but it pays off. On regular basis, we work with journalists. We provide them with our data insights, and for us, it's usually kind of free media publicity, and we generate many outputs just through data journalism. Basically, here what you can see, it's just one example. This is example of one day. Basically, we have really strong. Again, it's natural lunch peak and dinner peak. And for me, it's always nice to compare it to other countries within Delivery Hero, because Czech Republic is number one when it comes to lunch orders. Nowhere else in the world they are having such high number of lunches. You might love it's on one hand nice problem to have because you have many orders. On the other hand, just for those 2 hours of lunch, you need really high number of riders, and normally people do not want to work just for 2 hours. So it's a real business problem. And I was comparing us to Greece, to Sweden, to Asia, to South America. We are really number one when it comes to number of lunches. And we have also daily menus. Maybe for you in the Czech Republic, you're being used to it. Like go to the restaurant and for the lunch order from daily menu. Nowhere else in the world they are having daily menus. So also special features needs to be developed for our platform.
Do you actually have an idea why Czech people order a lot of food during lunch?
I think for us, we do not think about it. It's basically since we are young, we are used to it. In kindergarten, in elementary school, we are being fed with proper full warm lunch
with a beer on the side.
Yeah, if your kids or went to school in the Czech Republic and for lunch they would hand him a sandwich, most of the parents would complain. So we are used to it.
I know you are one of the earliest users of Kabula, right? So, and I'm sure you have tons of data that is feeding on not just marketing data, but actually the usage of your platform. How are you managing this amount of data, and how are you putting it into use for the business?
I think that's a kind of very complicated question, and the answer could be pretty long. This is just to demonstrate what needs to happen within those 15-20 minutes until when your order is being delivered. If you go to a restaurant, very often you will not receive the food in 20 minutes. And us or also our competitors, they will deliver the food to you in 20 minutes. And this is what needs to happen. The process is very complicated. Of course, everything is being everything is being driven by data. It's automated. Of course, we can't do that manually, so there are complicated algorithms behind it. And then you need to definitely choose the right partners and the right technology. So for business intelligence, as you mentioned, we are working with Kabula, which is a company originally founded in the Czech Republic. It's a data integration platform. They are great. We are also using good data for accessing the data to business. So it's maybe Tableau. So good data is something kind of like a Czech Tableau, but it's very, very cost effective. And we do like to work with other Czech startups. We use Clever Maps. It's for data visualization in maps. And again, I highly recommend it because our account managers, when they are going to restaurants, discussing with them their business and where their business is, they are not showing them just some Excel file or outputs from Tableau and so on, but they are showing them the maps, from which part of Prague, let's say, the orders are generated. So then we can adjust the delivery zones and so on. And it's completely different talk and discussion when you can actually visualize the information in a real nice way. So Clever Maps, we're also using BizStreet as our data architects, and they're called them data detectives, because if we were supposed to do everything on our own, it would be very, very costly. So we are working with great partners, great teams. And what I need to mention that for us, the customer experience and the data is not only about customers or customers meant in a way consumers. For us, it's very important also to work with our partners, with restaurants and shops, also with riders and with employees. So we really, when it comes to data, measure all those pillars, and they are equally important because we would not have orders from consumers without having partners, without having riders, without having employees. So all those things needs to be in balance.
I know you're not using Datadoo yet, but I will be selling you Datadoo later. We'll speak about data integrations. You have tons of data, and you have multiple teams. How can you help each team to just okay, this is the one report that is useful for you. This is what you can use. How are you handling this vast amount of data?
A couple of years ago, I would say that many companies were facing an issue that they are not having the data or the reports. At the moment, for me in Dáme jídlo, when it comes to data, the biggest issue is that we are having way too many data and way too many reports. And it's very easy to get lost in them because if you're checking them on daily basis, maybe something is or there's not every day when something interesting is happening. So sometimes you will not focus on the data, but there might be some problem hidden. So what is happening to us very often that as mentioned, we are having more than 6,000 restaurants, and it's simply not possible, for the account managers manually check, report for 6,000 restaurants, whether the previous day, they were on, whether they were having the orders, and so on. So, for example, at the moment, I'm working on something called anomaly detection, that I would get the right data at the right time to right stakeholders, and I'm trying to automate it because it can really save us hundreds of thousands, maybe millions in costs. Simple example, of course, we are using vouchers a lot, vouchers for consumers. It's very easy to make a mistake when you're setting up the voucher. And there was a time when it happened to my colleague that instead of discount 50 crowns, she set up a voucher in a way that everything for 50 crowns. And some students at Czech Technical University discovered it. And yes, they bought a lot of alcohol. And if we didn't have this anomaly detection, it would be really, really costly. If this was running for a couple of days.
So how long did it take you to figure it out?
A couple hours. But still, it cost us like 300,000 or something.
Oh, wow.
So yes, it's really important to have the data at the right moment to the right stakeholders. Because, believe me, we have basically hundreds of different metrics. But at the end of the day, they need to be understandable. So we came up, for example, with simple score. Grading every our order from a scale 1 to 5, like in Czech school. 1 the best, 5 the worst. But behind that, there are like 90 different metrics that are being implemented into that one simple score. But it's easily understandable. Everyone understands 1 to 5, and then if we make average on daily basis for all our partners, at the end of the day, we know if this day was a good day, if we scored, 1 or 1.2, 1.3, or if we scored 3. But what I also want to mention, and very often it is happening, and I have witnessed it in many companies, that very often the people within the company are very pessimistic. Before implementing this score, we asked our management team, people who are with the company 4 or 5 years, they are the seniors, they know how the business is working. We asked them, what do they think, what will be the score for us, for Dáme jídlo? And they predicted like 3.8, so actually pretty bad. But the reality is 1.7. And this is also very happening in the companies that, if you go to the office every day, mostly you're dealing with some issues, with troubles, with problems, with fuck-ups, and so on. So it's easy to get, depressed, to be pessimistic. But 90% of time, 95% of time, the service is working. It's okay. So this is also one of my learnings, that not to get too pessimistic, not to get too dragged by those issues, by those problems. It's business. There will always be some issue to solve, but the reality might be much brighter.
Like, I think one thing that we are implementing in Data Do, which was calling internal marketing. So actually marketing to your own employees. So like, yeah, because as you said, like every one of the if your employees is focusing on their own work, many of the time they're gonna be focusing on the fuck ups. Like if everything is running smoothly, no one's gonna contact you. They're gonna contact you when things are fucked up. So it's important actually to show to the rest of the company how everything, have the big picture. Actually, things are going smoothly. Hopefully, they are going smoothly. You are using text analysis for your views.
Because that was something that we were kind of missing out for a very long time. That I'd say that we are good when it comes to working with data, with numbers and so on, but we were not very much focusing on the text commentaries and on the reviews and so on. And I think this year we ran a lot of analysis on it, and again making those data accessible to our account managers, to our partners. And we started a cooperation with Czech startup called Genia. They are really great when it comes to text analysis. Here you can see some of the examples of the reviews. I know people are saying that we had really nice writers. They're asking for a contact for writer and so on. But very often, of course, they're using some negative reviews, some bad words, and so on. So firstly, you also need to categorize it. You need to work with that. We came up with like simple categories, simple visualization of what was in the text. And for example, there are really sometimes really nice insights. What is happening, why customers are not satisfied. So I think I can't really mention the brand, but it's one of the biggest fast food brands in the Czech Republic and also globally. And thanks to the text analysis, we found out that actually that the reason why many customers were unhappy was not the food, or not the rider, or not that we would arrive late, but it was simple thing. It was just when the order was being completed, they forgot to add straw for the drink. And just simple thing like that, missing straw. When you want to drink, you need a straw very often. Can make the experience bad. So we discovered it thanks to the text analysis. We warned the client, or the partner. So at the moment they are focusing on it, so that the straw is really present when they are completing the order, and the order rating went up.
Like, I think maybe one thing to add here is even doing that with the competitors. So again, I always give the example with B2B, that since that's what we are doing, like going to some reviews website, like go to g2.com, for example, or if it's Google, depending on where people leave reviews for your competitors, and you can just scrape all the text, and whether you're gonna do it manually or use some tool for that, you can figure out what their customers are frustrated about, and then you can optimize that in your own tool and start promoting this. Is there anything else you need to add?
It applies both to data and to marketing, that it's actually never ending. Because when speaking about marketing, if we were sitting here 3-4 years ago, we would not be speaking about TikTok, we would not be speaking about Twitch. There will be new channels, new media to come up. There will be new influencers, new trends, and so on. The world is constantly changing, so if you're a marketer, of course, you constantly need to learn, and the same applies to data, because simply there are more and more data we generate, we as consumers. Of course, the ways how we can work with them are at the same time being improved. There are new ways, but on the other hand, the ways are also being limited. I'm speaking about GDPR and all the regulations. So we constantly need to learn, adjust, come up with new ways. And I think only the companies and the managers who will constantly learn new ways, adjust, innovate, will survive.
Cool. So I think we are running out of time, and probably the food is getting cold. So I'm gonna be a little bit dictator here with the last question. What happened to the girl that made the mistake with the voucher? She's still working there. Okay, that answers the question.
Not at the moment, but not because of that mistakes. Because mistakes do happen. It's not the last mistakes I saw. It's not the first mistake I saw. So I think I will see many mistakes like that in future. That's why you need to have fail mechanisms like the anomaly detection and so on. We are all humans. We have emotions. We make mistakes. It's human to make mistakes. So.
Cool. Břetislav Stromko, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you everyone for attending. We'll still be outside. I would personally would love to speak with as many of you as I can. Thank you very much.